And welcome to another Round the Rotary podcast with me, your host, JP Warren. Thanks for everyone for tuning in today. Before we begin on this episode, I need to say that Round the Rotary podcast is brought to you by Capital Petroleum Consultants. CPC specializes in project engineering and well-site supervision in all disciplines of the oil and gas industry. Contact us through www.capitalpetroleumconsultants.com to see what CPC can do for you today. Anyway, so here's the host. So here's the guest we have today. We have Marshall Brown, the senior field engineer for workovers at Oasis Petroleum, and also the owner. What did you call it before?
Founder,
owner. So pretty much what you're doing, you're importing. Okay, no, let's stop yet. So he's the owner of a startup coffee shop here in Houston, Texas, called Clutch City Coffee. And once we get into that, you can provide the address and all that stuff. But it's right inside the loop off of Richmond, right across from Luling Barbecue.
That's right.
That's right. So, and the expected date to open that is?
We're hoping, middle of December.
Okay, middle of December, right in time for Christmas. So
That's
Merry
right.
Christmas to us.
Okay.
All right, hey Marshall. First off, dude, thanks for coming in. For those of you who know Marshall, he's a character. That's enough to say. He's an inspiration for my hair. And all that fun talk. So anyway, so Marshall, why don't you get us kicked off? But why don't you give us a little background, kind of where you're from, where you grew up, and kind of what brought you into the oil field?
So I was born in Jackson, Mississippi, but my family is from Kingsville, Corpus Christi, Port Aransas area, South Texas.
Okay.
And my dad moved to Jackson with Forest Oil and Gas, and that's how he got there, and he left and started his own deal.
Who's that, Forrest?
Forest Oil and Gas.
Yeah, okay.
Old name.
I remember going to the Forest's, like, when I first got into sales, like, going to, like, their old building downtown Houston. Like, the ceilings were, like, 7 feet tall. It was before they moved, or they merged, or where they moved to that new building. Yeah, but it was like that low ceiling. Yeah, I remember that.
So, we grew up in Jackson, but my family was in South Texas, so I do about seven months a year in Jackson, and when I wasn't in school, I'd be down in Port Aransas or Corpus.
All right.
5 months a year, 4 or 5 months a year. I did that growing up my whole life.
So would you consider yourself a Mississippianite or a Texan?
Mississippian or a Texan?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because the Mississippians consider me Texan, and the Texans, they don't know what to think.
Well, that's kind of me. Like, I was born in Houston, grew up here until I was 8 years old, then I moved to Connecticut until I was 18, and I came back down here. So it's like, I think it kind of depends on the conversation you're talking to. It's like, oh, where are you from? It's like, Texas. Like, where are you from? It's like, well, Connecticut, but I got here as fast as I could.
That's right. Depends who you're talking to, where you're from.
All right, so you grew up, you split cities.
Mm-hmm.
All right, kind of joint custody with cities.
That's right.
Kind of.
Family would go back and forth. Everyone called us gypsies.
Right.
We'd pack up and leave for the summer or Christmas or whenever.
Isn't that kind of what Jake did? Like his family too?
Jake Voss?
Yeah, going down to Arkansas all the time.
Absolutely. I think in the summer times it was crazy what he did. They would live in Barrow, Alaska in the wintertime and Arkansas in the summertime.
You think he'd flip that a little
You think
bit.
he'd do a little backwards, but
Swappy.
hey, whatever worked for them.
That works for them. So
Turned out pretty good for them.
So your dad worked for Forest Oil and Gas.
Yep.
All right, and so you're growing up between these two places. So where'd you go to school?
I went to St. Andrew's Episcopal School growing up.
Are you Episcopal?
I am.
I grew up Episcopal too.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
I knew I
kindergarten
liked you.
through 12th grade, and then I went to Mississippi State.
Okay, and what'd you study there?
Mechanical engineering.
Okay.
Yeah. Played football and did engineering, but football went by the wayside about my junior year. Which is a regret, but hey.
Did you quit to focus on studies?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Studies were a secondary thought to me back then. No, quit. I was just in a bad place. Immaturity got the best of me, and I walked out.
I think I actually graduated from the maturity in the best place of me probably about 2 years ago, and I'm 40 years old. So anyway, so Mississippi State.
Yep.
Okay. Graduate mechanical engineering. Were you always good at math and all that stuff?
No, I could do math, but I didn't like math. And I had my first passion was actually biology and science.
What? Really?
So yeah, actually.
What did you like about that?
I love science. I still read biology papers, which is kind of weird because I find them interesting.
Really?
Yeah. And so actually, I went to school for 7 years.
Okay.
My first 2 years was a biology major, pre-med. I wanted to go to medical school, and then my junior year of college, which I decided did not want to go to medical school.
Why junior? Is that when you make the decision what you kind of want to do?
You kind of start getting more serious about what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's not just a bunch of prereqs and all that kind of stuff. And
Getting those filter classes.
that's right.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love biology. I don't want to make this a living because it'll ruin it for me. And I was like, well, I can do math. I don't like math. And I'm like, well, I want to go into, I guess, my family, my great-grandfather, my grandfather, my uncles, my father, my siblings have been in the oil field.
So you're fourth
Generation.
Fourth generation. I think we've had a couple people on that have been fourth generation oil field. That's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And decided that, I was like, well, let's go to engineering. I'll go into the oil business and try that out. So I switched majors my junior year and started school.
So besides being a fourth generation oil field tycoon, what?
One thing about the oil business is it can make you or it can break you.
I think it's breaking more people than making them these days.
That's right.
Shit.
Join the club.
Yeah, no kidding. So did you have did you just pick to go in the oil field because that's what your family did before you, and you were like, okay, I'll just do that?
Well, I saw some. I was the only one in my family who's ever actually worked for a major before. I worked for ConocoPhillips for a while. We'll get into that later.
Okay.
Most everyone's an independent. They work for themselves or small mom and pop shops, and I just saw how much fun they had. Work hard, play hard. It's kind of an oil field mantra, and I saw that and I was like, man, I enjoy playing. I'm not afraid of hard work. Let's go do this. This seems like it'd be fun.
It's the best of both worlds right there.
That's right.
And that's the thing about the oil industry that I love. I mean, we really do have some of the hardest workers out there. We really, and the sharpest people out there too. But we also like to have a really good time too.
That's right.
Yeah, you work hard, you play hard.
That's it.
I get that.
So that's kind of what drew it to me,
Okay.
The business was work hard, play hard. And
so where was your first job?
Yeah, well, actually, when I graduated college, I was like, I disliked engineering so much. I was like, I'm not doing this. And I went to South Africa, and I thought I was going to go over there and work for De Beers or something stupid like that. And I didn't. I was ignorant. I didn't.
So you're trying to get the blood diamond
yeah,
business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do something crazy. Anyway,
I
went over there for 4 months and ran out of money and came back. And
Did you go there solo?
yeah, just by myself.
Why South Africa?
I don't know. It was just something it's just been one of those little places in my mind that I've always wanted to go to. They've got Jeffreys Bay and the greatest wave on earth from the Endless Summer. You want to go see that stuff.
Well, the greatest wave on earth, I think, was at Point Break.
Okay.
That was the one where you was a 100-year wave that comes in. Remember the one?
Point Break. That was in Bells Beach, Australia.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I didn't know that Bells Beach. I like that. I like how you know the location of this. So South Africa.
Yeah.
So was it a good experience there?
Yeah, it was awesome. Went down there. I played rugby for fun. It's big rugby culture,
Yep.
and I wanted to go down there and check it out. And met some rugby guys that let me stay with them for a couple of
So
months.
you just went solo?
Yeah, just went and hung out.
I respect that. It's
And,
it's kind of like the Euro move. It's like I'm just gonna go live over here for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So out of money. You're back.
Out of money, back here. I get picked up by a service company called Frac Tech.
Yep.
And they moved me to Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yeah, which is the northeast Pennsylvania, and worked Marcellus. So I moved up there, and man, I was actually living in Austin when I came back. I was trying to work in a little greenhouse at a little nursery, just kind of hanging out, trying to find a job.
Right.
And the Frac Tech picks me up, and I get a phone call, and I'm sitting, Barton Springs in my board shorts and flip flops and having fun with my friends, and all of a sudden, the next thing I know, I'm in a U-Haul heading up to Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
So what was the job?
The job is a frac engineer.
Okay.
Frac engineer for Frac Tech. And I pull up and it's snowing. I think a little teardrop comes out of my eye. Reality kicked me right in the face.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So did you? So you were up there for how long?
I was in Pennsylvania for 2.5 years. I was in Williamsport for about 8 months, and then they asked me to be the in-house engineer for Ranger Resources.
Okay.
In their Appalachian stuff, and
Right.
they moved me down to the greater Pittsburgh area. I think their office is in Canonsburg.
I've heard Pittsburgh is actually pretty nice.
It is beautiful in the
That's what I've
summertime.
heard. So
it is
I
gorgeous.
feel like the '80s kind of well, first off, there's a couple cities Detroit in the '80s was always bad, like RoboCop 2. Every bad movie took place in Detroit with the crime, but Pittsburgh, I mean, it's always like you always picture steel mills, but apparently it's beautiful when you go there.
It is not the Steel City anymore.
Yeah.
It is a bridge city, 3 rivers. It's just an absolutely beautiful city.
Would you go back?
I wouldn't move back, but I would go back to
Okay.
visit. The winter's kind of tough. The sun disappears, doesn't come back, kind of deal. From April, I guess from September to April, you don't see the sun. That's kind of tough. It's just clouds.
Well, that's kind of frustrating because then after that you go to where?
From Pennsylvania, I moved. Frac Tech moves me down to Houston to be the in-house engineer for Marathon Oil's Bakken asset.
Okay.
And so I do that for a little bit, and then I get picked up by ConocoPhillips, and
Yep.
they make me a completions engineer in West Texas.
Okay.
Working the Central Basin platform.
What year was that?
I moved to Houston in 2013, and then February of 2014 I started with Conoco.
Okay, so you're doing West Texas about 2014.
2014 to 2014 and 2015, yeah.
Okay.
I worked in West Texas, and then in 2015, Conoco moves me to Alaska.
So that's what I'm getting at. It's like you're complaining about the gray skies from May to September, but it's like, dude, you're going to Alaska. We're literally 6 months out of the year. The sun stays up till 2 a.m. or it goes down at 1 p.m.
But it's different in Alaska.
I don't know. I've never been. I'm just going.
So in the wintertime, yeah, there's 19 hours of night. But for those 3 or 4 hours, the sun is actually up and shining. It's hitting the snow and it's bright.
Okay.
Right, so you actually get the sunlight. Whereas in Pennsylvania,
It's just gloomy.
it's just dark, gloomy for 6 to 8 months. So you might not get a lot of sun in Alaska, but when you do get it, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. That kind of messes with my mood, the whole gloominess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So in Alaska.
So I stayed in Alaska for 4 years, I guess, and then in 2018, or 3.5 years, 4 years.
And you met your wife in Alaska.
I did.
Right?
She's from Fairbanks.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
All right.
And I moved down to Houston in 2018.
So she was like, "Hey, get me out of this picturesque,
Oh.
beautiful, pristine countryside. Take me to Houston."
Wrong.
Okay.
No, she was not happy when we were dating, and she went to Japan with her school. She's a teacher,
All right.
and she took her, I guess, a group of students to Japan, and while she was gone, I got a phone call from Oasis that says, we would like you to move down here and move into the asset group opposed to drilling completions and interventions.
So did you move down here with Oasis?
I did.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Okay.
So Oasis called and they offered me a job in the asset group, and I wanted to diversify my resume a little bit. And so I took the opportunity. Conoco, they were, you can move into the asset group later,
Right.
not now.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking now. So
Yeah. Okay.
I made the move, and so she got back from Japan, and I had till I guess she got back on like a Saturday, and I had to tell them on Monday whether I accepted the job or not. So we hadn't seen each other in 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
And Sunday night, we're talking. I was like, okay, this isn't going to be easy, but I got a job offer, and I think I have to take it. And she was not a happy camper.
Yeah.
It took everything I had just to get her to not break up with me.
Yeah.
Convinced her to just give me a chance.
That's where you throw that ring on.
Yeah, well, ooh, easy. So we decided to try long distance for a while. It worked out.
Oh, okay.
And we got married, engaged and married, and now she lives down here.
Does anyone else live with y'all?
Yeah, we had a little girl about 5 months ago.
Okay. Congratulations.
Yeah,
How's that going for you?
It's fantastic.
That's your first one.
It's first one.
Yeah.
It's it's pretty cliche. Everyone says it's the greatest thing you'll ever do, but I mean, once you do it, you can't imagine life without it.
And also, let's be honest about newborns. Okay, I mean, you see these pictures on like social media, like the family's well rested, like the baby's like a week old, and it's like tucked in this weird position. It's like, oh my God, we're so peeping. It's like, no, time out. The first 3 months of a child's life, you're like, I don't understand how the human race can evolve this far along, because those first 3-4 months is ridiculous.
It was
it's
tough.
like, God, like what are you crying about? Like, you're literally in a controlled environment, 72 degrees outside. You eat all the time, and when you get your diapers changed, you're not living in the elements like it's like ancient Sparta. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But it's tough. It is tough. But and then also it's tough too because you're doing a rotation right now, right?
That's right. So in May, my job got eliminated. I was asset development engineer or
Okay.
project assessment engineer or something like that. And they eliminated my position, and they told me that they would like me to do a 2-2 in North Dakota, doing workovers.
And you had to do that whole quarantine 2 weeks before your daughter was born. So anyway,
It was nuts. But yeah, so I was one of the lucky ones that got an opportunity to stick around, and decided to go do a 2-2. And it was tough timing because that was right. My daughter was born June 25th.
I know.
So it was 1 month before.
So anyway, so that's kind of so that kind of brings up to speed today. But we're actually, I mean, look, we can talk about the oil field all we want. We've been there, done that, all that stuff. We're not going to bring anything to the table that no one already knows. But until right now we're going to bring something to the table, and that's kind of why I'm bringing you in here right now. Like, you're doing something that's kind of outside the box and interesting. I mean, you're hearing a lot of people kind of in the oil field right now kind of be worried about, whatever, is going on in the industry right now and kind of the global economy and want to get out of the oil field and want to do this and that. But you kind of a different thing going on. I introduced you as the senior field engineer, but also the owner and of a startup coffee shop. Why? So let's stop real quick. So tell me about this coffee shop that you're planning to open up.
So we're going to open a drive-through only coffee shop, espresso stand.
So no Wi-Fi, no tables,
No tables, no music. It is simply a quick, fast, and good enough cup of coffee.
So why coffee? I mean, I feel like there's so many other things that you can kind of get into, but why coffee?
So, when I lived in Alaska.
That's a great question, Drew.
When I lived in Alaska.
You got to say that at least 5 times.
Gotcha. I'll start throwing that in for you. When I lived in Alaska, I think Alaska has the most coffee shops per capita of any state, or Anchorage has the most coffee shops of any city per capita in the United States. It's like something like 2.5 coffee shops per 10,000 residents.
Is the coffee good up there?
It's delicious.
Really?
It's good. Seattle is typically, or I guess considered like the coffee hub of the United States. It's where Starbucks is from, right? And all that
right.
Is. Well, that coffee culture has permeated into Alaska and Anchorage, and there are coffee stands everywhere.
So stands.
Well, the little drive-throughs, little shacks, but there's also cafes and whatnot.
Right.
But mainly, every corner in Anchorage has a drive-through coffee stand.
Okay.
You go. I mean, it's cold, so you're always wanting. It's dark, and you're always, picking up something on the way to go. And when I moved down to, and I got used to. I lived probably 3 blocks from a stand called Cafe d'Art.
Okay.
And it's delicious and great people that work there, and became friends with them. And I got accustomed to having that right next around the house, real fast, drive through on either side real quick. And when I moved down to Houston, I was, my girlfriend at the time, my now wife, came to visit.
Good clarification.
Yeah. Came to visit, and we were going to go down to Port Aransas. She flew into Houston, spent the night, and we're going to go down to Port Aransas in the morning. And she was like, well, let's just pick up some coffee on the way before we leave.
Right.
Absolutely. Didn't even cross. I hadn't been here more than a couple of weeks before she came down. And so we get up in the morning, and I type in my phone, coffee, let's go get some. And everything's like Starbucks. And I was like, no, we don't particularly like Starbucks.
Yeah.
There's nothing against Starbucks, it's just not our flavor.
Is it because you're against big corporations, or is it because the coffee tastes very bitter?
I am not a fan of their coffee.
I don't think
if a big corporation makes a great product that I like, I have nothing against it.
Right.
But Starbucks coffee is just not for me.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Yeah, I get that. I think there's probably not for a lot of people, but a lot of people just go to it because it's convenient. It's become a house name.
You see the sign off in the distance. That's where the coffee is. So you go.
And you know what you're getting.
You know exactly what you're getting, right? And so she flies in. Let's go get some coffee. Okay, so we don't have Starbucks, and then all of a sudden we drive to 2 or 3 places that aren't even coffee shops. One of them I think is an apartment that has like a drip coffee in the lobby.
Okay.
And we spent 20 minutes trying to find a cup of coffee, and eventually we just go like, what, we're out of here. Let's just stop by the Shell gas station and get some
station coffee.
Gut rot coffee.
Right.
Let's go. And
some drilling coffee.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, some drilling coffee.
And on the way down, we're like, why? I cannot believe there's no drive-through coffee stands here. Like, where are we going to go? What are we going to do? And then one thing led to another, and Clutch City Coffee was born on a drive down to Port Aransas.
So are you opening this bit? So what's the motivation behind this? Tell me about the motivation behind the Clutch City Coffee.
Motivation?
Yeah, look, I want a lot of things that I had in Connecticut. You know what I mean? Bacon, egg, and cheeses, actual delis. Houston has no delis, like Italian-owned delis.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, what do you need? Like, I miss that stuff. So how does what kind of spurred you know what? I'm opening this up. What was the motivator opening it up?
So my whole life, I've always wanted to work for myself. I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit.
Okay.
That's been my uncles, my grandparents, my father. They've all worked for themselves.
Right.
That's what I've seen, and it's kind of what I always aspired to.
Yeah.
Oil industry is pretty hard to do that. It's not just starting your own deals.
It's pretty easy these days. It's 2020, Q4, we just had an election, Biden is going to be the president-elect. It's pretty easy these days,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, anyone can do it.
Anybody can.
So, you know, we saw this, and it was like, you know, a coffee stand. It's pretty much, it's not very expensive. It's low cost of entry, so to speak.
Okay.
It's a relatively simple concept. It's not complicated. My wife used to work in coffee stands. She was a manager of some. And so I was just, you know, in my free time, I would just go do research on industry statistics and this and that. And over the course of a year and a half, I kind of just built a business plan.
Was there like an aha, like an oh shit moment, like this, we gotta attack this? Like, was there something that came back to you that kind of, you started researching, you're like, we have to do this, honey, like we need to do this?
Well, so it was kind of like two things came together. You know, you're building the business plan, you're looking at economics, and you're like, well, you know, that looks nice, looks good, but, you know, how realistic is it? And then you start looking into the city of Houston. And what you find is that Starbucks this is the second most locations of a Starbucks in the United States.
What's the first?
The first, I cannot remember. It might be Seattle's third.
Really?
Seattle's third, I believe. Houston has something like 130, 140 Starbucks in the greater Houston area. And then you start looking to it even more, and
I think New York City has number one.
there it is.
Yeah.
It's New York City.
I think so.
Right. But when you start looking into Houston itself, Houston, you know, I told you earlier, Anchorage has 2.5 coffee stands per 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
Houston has 2.8 coffee stands per 100,000, or coffee shops per 100,000.
Okay.
Right, and so if you look at the major cities of the United States, Houston is one of the most underserved coffee markets in the country.
Really?
Absolutely.
So, okay. So,
And Houston is either the first or second largest coffee port in the United States.
because of the Port of Houston.
That's right, Port of Houston.
So you're seeing this, and you're thinking, well, all right, well, you know, my wife knows this, she's managed this before, you're doing the market research, you're thinking, okay, well, there's an opportunity here, right? I mean, most people go to Starbucks and they'll sit in their cars for, 2 minutes or 3 minutes, 5 minutes, however long it takes, right? Or sometimes to pull around and park and they walk it out for you. So what was kind of, did you just want to bring this in because it was something that you kind of grew up with in Alaska, or lived next to in Alaska? Or is this something that you're like, okay, well, this is kind of, you're offering something new, like the drive-through aspect of it?
But it's a little bit of both. You know, it's like Houston is a commuter city. People are on the drive, they're
Mhm.
moving, right? And a lot of people don't want to get out of their car, go into the coffee shop.
I was saying also Houston's lazy city too.
Fair enough.
We love being lazy. I'm great at being lazy. You know what I mean?
If there's an option to get out of your car and go in or drive through, you go drive through.
Yeah.
The problem with Starbucks is it's a 15-20 minute wait.
Yeah.
And the reason that is because you're competing with people on the inside for espresso machine time, food. They got to prepare food and all that stuff. We're not making food. We'll have food delivered every morning.
I want to get into this breakfast topic after this.
Okay.
Go on.
So what we're doing is we're trying to speed up the process.
Okay.
And we found and then I guess on the other side of this is in Houston. What I have noticed since I've been in Houston, I live in Brooksmith, which is kind of the east side of the Heights, Main Street area. Is Houston's developing a penchant for homegrown and local.
Oh yeah.
You know, they
Especially in the Heights area.
absolutely.
Yeah.
People are starting. You know, there's this slogan in Austin, which is "Keep Austin Weird."
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean let's do a bunch of drugs and be weirdos. What it actually represents a long time ago was support your mom and pops, support your locals, right? And you're starting to see that grow in Houston. And so, you know, with Starbucks dominating the landscape around here, you know, think about breweries and Ambev, Miller Coors.
They're blowing up here.
Well, so the local mom and pop breweries are blowing up in Houston.
Yeah.
And the big national brands are suffering. Well, I mean, think about that in the coffee culture. That's Starbucks, right?
Yeah.
That's Miller Coors. That's Ambev. That's
Dude,
Anheuser.
You can walk into I'll bet the majority of bar restaurants in the Houston Heights area and all that stuff, and you'll be challenged to find a Miller Lite.
That's right.
You know, you'll be challenged to find a Coors Light because it's all this. It's the local, no label, Carbach. It's the local stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so in my You know, I feel like coffee is probably more applicable than beer is to people. More people like coffee than beer, right? And
More people need coffee than beer.
maybe.
Yeah.
And so I see coffee going the same way that the beer has.
Yeah.
You know, local mom and pops, people are going to want that. And we've teamed up with Cat's Coffee, local, been around for 25
Where's Cat's out of?
Cat's is right off Carbach Street by Carbach Brewery.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And
All right.
Avi Katz has started that up, and man, he has been so helpful for us, and he's kind of held our hand in the coffee industry, and you know, so we decided that's where the Clutch City Coffee comes from. The idea is that we want to be a homegrown, local, fast coffee that's good and supports our community.
Were there any other names besides you before you settled on Clutch City Coffee?
Yeah, we worked on a few.
Any ones that stand out?
I feel like you're trying to get me to
This is just a conversation, bro. Like we're just talking. We're talking coffee.
talking
please.
coffee.
We're
Yeah.
talking coffee.
You know, we thought about, you know, H-Town Espresso,
Okay.
Bayou City Coffee, Clutch City Espresso, and we love the alliteration with Clutch City Coffee.
Yeah.
And so that's what we went with it. It's supposed to be a reference back
And
to
y'all's logo is pretty cool too. So hey, I don't know if anyone any of the listeners are following, but y'all have an Instagram page.
Clutch City
Hold on a
Coffee
second. Time out.
HTX.
Instagram page. What am I, my dad?
Your age
No.
is showing.
No, an Instagram account. It's Clutch City Coffee HTX.
XTX.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. It's got the Houston City skyline in the back, and right.
That's right. Well, so we had two logos. One was going to be more for, you know, we wanted to have an artist do a mural
Yeah.
with the city skyline and our name and logo on it. But that's pretty hard to like replicate, print, or stamp or anything like that. So we made a very concise circle logo that has a cup of coffee on it with a C representing Clutch City Coffee. And so that's the logo we chose for our main logo. Yeah.
So what is your strategy when it comes to kind of like naming your coffees and the sizes? Are you doing anything cute?
No.
Just straightforward.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Well, how simple?
So we're only going to offer two sizes. It's 12 and 16 ounces. And, you know, ice drinks only come in 16. There's some drinks that have to be 8 ounces, and we'll have those, obviously. But for the most part, we're trying to keep the options down so that you can move through quickly.
So the quality is good.
Avi Katz brings his own beans in from Colombia. He roasts
Dude,
it
Cat's
himself.
coffee's phenomenal.
It's phenomenal.
It really
it's so
is.
good.
We get that at the house all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're pretty pumped that they decided to help us out and go with us, you know, and we're working together, and it's great.
So, let's say I'm there. I'm tired. I'm swinging by a Richmond right across from Luling Barbecue, and I want a cup of coffee from the newest hot.
You know, you go over, have a big barbecue, you're a little tired, you'll pick me up after
You need to
lunch.
pick me up.
Come on over.
Well, tell me about this whole breakfast dilemma you've been dealing with for the past 3 months. I mean, this is a whether you like it or not, I'm gonna bring it up. You're on the
Okay.
hot seat, right? It's a hot topic.
Let's talk about
What
it.
are we doing about breakfast?
What are we doing about breakfast?
What are we doing to fuel Houston?
So we're in Houston, right? Houstonians love tacos and they love kolaches.
Yes.
Right? So, but we are not a kitchen. We don't make food because we don't want to slow down the process.
So you're all about efficiency and quality.
That's right. We're going to make
Taste.
the coffee, when you just kind of like Starbucks, you know exactly what you're going to get.
Right.
You know, it's going to be the same quality every time, and we're going to be as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So part of that is that something you can do is you can have other restaurants make your food for you and deliver it in the morning.
Okay.
So we're trying to decide.
Have you decided?
We have not decided. We've talked to a few people. We are trying to figure out where we want to be.
Well, tell me, you've done a poll recently on Instagram on whether it's kolaches or tacos, and what was the results of that?
We're still gathering the results.
The latest I've checked, because I participated in that poll from both my accounts, JP Warren and around the Rotary, it's 100% tacos. That's kind of what I'm picking up on. It's gonna be tacos.
So fair enough. But you have to also remember a lot of those followers are from Alaska, and they don't even know what a kolache is.
Well, a lot of those followers from Alaska are also followers of Around the Rotary.
That's
podcast.
correct.
So they're listening in today.
Yeah, so we'll probably do tacos. If we start getting a lot of requests for kolaches, we'll try and figure something out.
How you gonna? What's your process on actually finding the vendor for tacos? I mean, tell me about that process, because that sounds like a fun process, like choosing like I imagine it's like choosing a wedding cake. You know, you just go sample all this stuff.
Sampling
Like
all
it's
the-
like a bourbon sampling or it's a whatever sampling. So tell me about that.
You know, there's no real process. It's more of a who's willing to make the proper deal. You know,
Yeah.
how much are they going to sell us a taco for, as well as what do people want? What do people
Yeah.
like? And
You can't sell a bunk breakfast taco.
not in Houston.
No,
Houston,
'cause
you
that-
got to have a proper taco.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
You know, and so really for us, it's more about
Tacos, it's about flour, it's about eggs, huevos, it's about
It's about
bacon.
huevos.
And the thing is though about this place, I love this area too that y'all are at because it's kind of right inside the Galleria. You're right before Greenway Plaza.
Mhm.
Yeah, Greenway Plaza right there.
Yep, we're a couple
right next to
miles
that
down the street.
Costco.
So you have Raging Cajun down by
Yeah.
the train tracks, and then you have Afton Oaks neighborhood,
Yep.
and then you have Luling City Barbecue, Bayou City Seafood, Liberty Taco.
It's a great area, and I drove by it this morning, and there's a huge sign out there, so you can't miss it if you're driving by.
That's the idea.
And if you go in, you
Everybody-
say you listen to Riding the Rotary podcast with Marshall Brown, you get a 30% discount. Does that sound right?
Fair enough. We might be able to work something out. I think we can.
So okay, so you're looking for breakfast. So what was this going on right now? I guess in the economies and the industry and all this stuff. I mean, is this an opportunity to kind of diversify a little bit your income streams and other people potentially have this opportunity as well?
So when it originally the idea came up, it wasn't so much about that. This was back in 2018, and things were better then.
Yeah.
But what it has turned into is that things are so unpredictable now that, you know, with all of the M&A action going on and consolidation,
every week.
it's something, right? And guess what you always hear? We have X amount of dollars or percentage being reduced through
Synergies.
synergies. You know what that means?
I know what that means.
G&A reductions.
Yep.
That means less jobs.
Yep.
And so with what's currently going on, it was more of like, well, we need to diversify a little bit, kind of give yourself an option in case, you know, things turn sour on you. Because there's no guarantee. I mean,
Well, there's no guarantee, and also you have no control over it.
No.
You have no. I mean, you could be the best engineer, the best salesperson, or the best procurement, or whatever you are. But at the same time, at the end of the day, it might be just unfortunate where you just fall under that line.
you know, you can hear. I've heard a lot of people say like, I've made it through all these from 2015 to now, and I haven't been let go because I'm the best or whatever. There's a lot of luck with that.
Man, you know
It's
what?
a lot of luck. You
I
can be good, but it's a lot of luck.
I just got a message on LinkedIn the other day. This gentleman, he's like, you know, I've been in the oil field all my life. I was doing a good job with a great company, blah, 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 all that stuff. You know, pretty much just like, he's like, in a blink of an eye, it's gone.
That's right.
And that's heart-wrenching to me because it's like, man, you know, this person put their, you know, heart and soul and their, you know, they probably missed time away from their family, their child's birthdays,
A
all
lot
that
of
stuff.
sacrifices,
Gone.
just like that.
Just like that.
You know? And so for me, it's turned into something where it's like, in case that happens, because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, that at least I have something I can work on to keep my mind busy, potentially make some money. Like, we're not open yet, but obviously we wouldn't be doing it if we thought we were going to fail.
So are you kind of, I guess the investors on this place, I mean, are you finding it kind of people being hesitant right now about investing in this place, or people kind of jumping on this because it's an alternative source of income potentially?
So what we found is that everybody's very interested. It's been a very positive response. Everyone but one is an oil field.
Really?
Every investor except one, and the other two are in the Navy. But
Well, no, I mean, so all these investors, every single one of them is pretty much an oil field.
oil field investor.
Really?
That's right, and every single one has pretty much said either we love the concept, we think Houston could really use something like this, or we need to find something other than oil to invest in.
So if this takes, well, I guess you can start calling that the new black gold.
The new black
The new
gold.
black gold.
Uh-huh.
So is this something that potentially has the legs to kind of potentially open up other locations and all that?
So the idea is we got investors to spread out the risk, you know,
Okay.
de-risk the project, because obviously we don't know if it's going to work. Now, if I knew it was going to work, I would have done it myself.
Yeah,
And
you
if I
would
didn't,
have been slugging away the fun times in the oil and gas industry for the past 15 years.
exactly. So we raised startup money for it.
Yep.
Through investors, and the idea is if this one works, we'd like to open them up around the city.
Okay.
So we definitely have plans to open up.
Do you
if it's successful?
There's no if. So do you have any advice for people out there listening that are kind of sitting there that that might be in the oil and gas or any industry right now that are listening right now that kind of have a feeling or a hunch to hop on an opportunity that might be completely not what they're comfortable with and kind of outside. I mean, what is your advice to people that are looking to diversify outside the oil and gas industry?
Well, I think there's two questions there. One is to diversify out of oil and gas through investment. The other one is, are you kind of asking about someone who might have a startup idea?
No, take it. Both.
Well, we'll start with the startup idea.
Yeah.
With me, all I can speak as my personal experience. But through the process, we haven't opened yet. We're probably 4 weeks away from opening up. But there's always hurdles, and there's always going to be naysayers, and there's always people that are going to have negative comments. And you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your idea, and if you do, you need to go for it.
Okay.
For me, there's been a lot of positivity, but there's been some roadblocks and things that you just have to look past, and you have to push through them. You just gotta go for it.
Okay.
There's it's risk.
Yeah.
You gotta be a little.
Well, I mean, that's entrepreneurial right there.
That's right.
It is a risk. So for people that are looking to, I guess, go out of not just invest, but people that actually kind of want to get out and like, I've always kind of want to, be a fishing guide, or I've kind of always want to open a bakery or something. Whatever their passion is something completely unrelated, such as coffee and oil field or whatever else. So what I guess is your outlook, advice, or something like that for people that are kind of almost about to jump ship?
I personally feel like we put a lot of constructs on what we're supposed to do.
Let's go down this hole.
You want to go down this hole?
I love this hole. Let's go down this hole. So what do you mean?
So, let's take it for when I was working with Conoco.
Okay.
Right? It's pretty, it's challenging work, but checks come in every day.
Yep.
And life's pretty predictable. I don't know how my project's going to go, but life itself, I know this check's going to come X, Y, and Z. And it's pretty predictable, right? And when you kind of get used to that lifestyle, you build a lot of expectation and constructs about what you're supposed to do.
Right.
But one thing that, starting this business is kind of, when I was younger, I thought this way. And now that I'm starting this coffee business with my wife, it's kind of reopened my mind again about there are no real rules on how you're supposed to live your life.
There's not.
It's your life.
You know
right?
what?
They're guidelines. It's like if you want your life to be easy, you can go collect checks.
Yep.
If you want your life to be hard, you can go do X, Y, and Z. Do something else. And if you want to take a chance, you can do this. And you can do anything you want.
And you might fall and you might. So I completely agree with that. In life, I mean, there's always that there's that constant. Once I'm here, then I'm gonna be happy. Once I'm, it starts off in elementary school. It starts, once I get to middle school, I'm better. Once I'm a senior.
I've had those exact conversations with myself.
I'm
sure everyone does. As soon as I get here,
I'm gonna be satisfied.
This is gonna be good.
This
is gonna be exactly what I wanted.
But you're always chasing it. And then what happens? You wind up to be 65 years old, you're retired, no energy, and you're like, okay, now what?
What did I just do?
Now what? It's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
That's right.
I think, and actually I think this whole COVID quarantine situation too, I think it has had a lot more people understanding that safety net of life, that common career path that people have been taught their whole life. It's not necessarily true. And the thing is, though, is it really fulfilling? You could be in a job for 30, 40 years. And is it really enriching?
Well, I think it is to some people.
No, I agree.
I have an uncle who has been very successful in the oil business, and he works for a very large company. And he told me when he looked at my business plan for the coffee shop, he was like, when I was first coming out of Texas A&M, I wanted to have my own business and start my own oil company, and I was going to work for a major for 5 years, and I was going to work for an independent for 5 years, and I was going to do my own thing.
There's always that.
The next thing. Yeah. And then what he found was that he wasn't comfortable spending other people's money.
Oh, okay.
Or taking those risks, and he ended up staying with that first company his entire career. He's still there, and he's happy.
Yeah.
And he loves it. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Listen,
Everyone does their own thing.
I'm not speaking to that, but what I'm speaking to is the whole like, okay, once I get to this, then I'll be happy. Once I get to this step, well, once I get to manager role or VP role or C, but at the end of the day, I mean, once you're, you know, as we said, 60, 65 years old, you know, it's like, okay, like you get to that level, then what? You know, I mean, you're always, I guess what I'm trying to say is you're propping yourself up for that next step, and that's going to make me happy. That's going to make me, you're always chasing that carrot.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and I'm pretty excited about this thing. I am one of those people who, you know, starting this business kind of opened my mind back up to like, you don't have to play by their rules. Play by your rules.
Yeah.
You know, there's obviously some rules you gotta play by.
No, yeah.
But when it comes to living your life, you do what you want to do, what makes you happy. Chase some stuff. It's okay to fall.
Yeah.
You know, we might fall on this. I hope we don't, but we might.
Yeah.
And it'll be one heck of a learning experience one way or another.
Amen to that. So what else? Anything else about the Clutch City coffee that you'd like to discuss?
Clutch City Coffee. I mean, we're really excited. So one of the ideas that I had for it is I'm a big, you know, I'm a big believer in community.
Yeah.
And one thing that bugs me is government telling us what we should do. Okay. And I don't want to get into politics.
I just had a DRW on here, and trust me, I get it. I get it. Government telling you what you can and can't do.
You know, and for me, I think community should take care of community.
Okay.
I don't think government should take care of us because it's too big.
Yeah.
They can't see.
Yeah.
Right. And so we wanted to be in a neighborhood where we could give back, because our business is not going to succeed unless the community supports us.
Right.
So we should give back to the community. So one of the things, like in my grand scheme of things, is if we open up multiple shops, every shop will be able to dedicate some of its funds to a community
in that area.
To do something, whether it's you know, books for the school or something, some sort of community outreach. We'll dedicate some of, if we're, you know, have to be successful first, but we'll
stop saying that. Stop saying that.
It's preparing myself.
Don't prepare yourself.
Fair enough.
So I like that aspect. I mean, it's you get back to the community. You get back to you improve that, and actually it grows from there. I mean, it gets to that bigger level, that national level.
You know, I have a kind of a philosophy of the business should take care of its not just its people, but its community.
Yeah.
Because without them, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So you give back, and that's what I want to do eventually.
What point of the season are you going to be rolling out pumpkin spice?
Point of the season.
Is that going to be...
Well, you know,
we
talked extensively about it.
I
think there's a few people out there that would love year-round pumpkin spice.
I think there's a lot of people that would love year-round pumpkin spice.
But that's like year-round Christmas lights. I don't think I can do it.
I disagree.
Really?
I got upset at my wife last year because she took the Christmas lights down in March, and I'm like, well, don't get me wrong, the tree was down, okay? I just love Christmas lights.
I love Christmas lights too.
It's a cool ambiance.
But you know why they're cool? Is because they're seasonal. They're not year-round.
I don't know.
If they were every day, they'd lose their specialness.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you with that. That's like saying TV. That's not the same analogy. Whatever. No, I just like Christmas lights. So what's the deal? What's are you gonna pad it a couple months? Or are you gonna shorten it?
Well, we might pad its steps.
I think you should.
Yeah.
I think you should pad it. I think that'll be a big selling point to a lot of people.
Well, we'll definitely be taking requests.
So drilling wells and making coffee.
That's it.
I like that. Turkey hunt.
Well, work over. Not drilling.
Work over. No.
Sure.
Yeah. No. So also turkey hunting too is something you enjoy.
Man, I've got it bad for turkey hunting.
So I don't know anything about turkey hunting, but so that's you want to get into that at all?
We can. Happy to.
Talk to me about it. So you're a hunter. You're a fisherman more, but you're a hunter also.
That's correct.
Okay, so you enjoy turkey hunting the best because it's the most challenging.
It's like a chess match.
What do you mean?
You talk to the birds.
What do you mean?
You get out there and you call them and you hear them and they're moving and you're moving and you know, it's fun. It's interactive and you're not just sitting there waiting on them.
I've heard that's the part that draws people in is the strategy of it.
So when you're turkey hunting, I have a group of friends that we've called the Turkey Group, Turkey Guys, and we go turkey hunting every year. We have one
Very
trip.
creative name, by the way.
Yeah,
The
well,
Turkey
we
Guys.
don't actually have a name. I call them that. You know,
I like that.
it is what it is.
That's the group text name. Turkey
Turkey
Guys.
Turkey
Yeah.
Guys. And every year we go on a turkey hunt, and
Where at?
recently has been in Goliad, Texas.
Okay.
But this is the last year we're going to have that place.
Okay.
So, anywho, we have a group we love going. But with turkey hunting, the birds you can't chase them. You'll never catch a turkey, right? You have to get in front of them. So there's two ways to get a bird to show up, right? You talk to them and convince it to come to you, or you talk to it and figure out where it's going and get in front of it. So you have to have a strategy. Absolutely.
Okay, so I get you saying talking to. I'm assuming it's the turkey call.
Turkey calls.
So how do you know, like, hey, it's coming towards us, or hey, it wants us to meet us down by the creek?
Well, you get it wants to meet us down by the creek.
I don't know.
You get familiar with an area, right? With what turkeys are doing. They follow patterns, right? They're going to move. They move all day long.
Okay.
And so when you're talking to them, you're gobbling, you're calling a turkey,
Yeah.
and it gobbles back. You can tell whether it's coming to you or walking away from you, or which direction it's going.
Okay.
When they don't talk, it's very
How?
You can hear them. You hear where they're located in the woods.
So, so you do one call,
I do a call, they call back.
and then you do another call, and if they sound farther away, you know they're walking away.
That's right. And so you do it over a course of time. You're like, well, they're moving from east to west. It's like, well, I know what's over there. I know where they're going to go. So I get up and I move. And then I start calling again, and they start calling again. And they either show up or they keep moving.
I think the strategy behind turkey hunting is very fast. I've talked to you about this, and I've talked to another buddy of mine, Todd Bernardo, about this. Like, he was an avid turkey hunter as well, and it's just like, it's fascinating. Like, at first I'm like, you're just sitting there waiting for it to walk by. Because that's like most hunting. You know what I mean? Like, I've been bird hunting for deer hunting, but it's like, you're sitting there waiting for them to come. You know what I mean? But what he was saying, what you're saying, it sounds something completely different. Like, you're trying to outthink Ben.
That's right. It's a chess match.
Yeah.
You know, it's interactive hunting.
All
You're
right.
talking back and forth and you're making moves. But if you follow the bird, you'll never catch it. So you have to get ahead of it.
Really?
That's right.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting. All right. Okay. So you going on a turkey hunt soon?
So in the fall, which is kind of weird turkey season, the turkeys aren't gobbling, right? It's only gobbled during mating season, which is in the spring.
Okay.
So there is a fall turkey season, but it's not much fun to hunt them, in my opinion, because you're not.
Not like singles out there.
Yeah, they're all grouped up.
Yeah, they're already like it's kind of like in Alaska. Like they got the winter girlfriend for a while.
That's right.
Yeah,
The winter girlfriend. You know
Yeah.
what that is.
I know. Well, so at Noble Drilling, I was up in Newfoundland, and they're like, he's got his winter girlfriend. Yeah, so it's the snow's coming, so so that's fall turkey hunt.
Yeah, that's fall turkey hunt.
Okay.
Yeah. So they all flock up, and you have all the hens, all the gobblers, and all the yearlings, all in big 50.
Do you do any of the type of hunting?
Yeah.
No, I mean, do you is that turkey hunting?
I've been fortunate enough to live in Alaska and become a resident, and so I was able to sheep hunt up
Okay.
there, and I fell in love with
Sheep?
sheep hunting in the mountains after Doll sheep and stone sheep in Alaska. So that's been something that I have missed dearly since I moved back. For sure.
Dearly.
Yeah.
Hunting deer.
Nah.
Unintended.
Well, I don't really enjoy deer hunting. I enjoy eating.
I don't like deer hunting either.
It's kind of.
I really don't. I did it one time. It's not my thing.
I like to eat them.
I like bird hunting.
Bird hunting.
I love bird
I
hunting.
think if sheep hunting is very, very hard, it's very difficult. When you're doing it, you're kind of like, why the heck am I doing this? This is terrible. And then when it's done, it's the greatest thing you've ever done.
I haven't heard of a lot of people doing sheep hunting.
And it's not common.
It's not?
No, in most states you have to get a draw to do it, or you have to pay a very top dollar
Really?
guide to take you sheep hunting. In
Really?
Alaska, if you're a resident, you can get over-the-counter tags.
Okay.
Which,
But you have to be a resident.
you have to be a resident of Alaska. If you're non-resident, you have to get a guide,
Got you.
and it's very expensive.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So I was fortunate to have that experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Marshall, You have anything else for us before I kind of ask you a couple? Oh yes, go.
Go ahead.
Right? No, you bring it. I was gonna do the jokes.
Okay, I was gonna ask you. You were very concerned about breakfast.
Oh
I was gonna ask you what's your favorite breakfast.
Okay, no.
item is.
So time out. So this is a big deal right now. So for those that you don't know, Marshall's a buddy of mine, and we've been kind of talking for the past probably about 4 months right now about breakfast and what would you serve if you were at Clutch City Coffee and all that stuff, which I love because you're kind of getting feedback from everyone and the people. You know, you're not making you're having everyone else kind of weigh in on kind of the decision, which I enjoy. And so, breakfast has kind of changed whether you're in, so I grew up in Connecticut, so breakfast up there are different than down here, than different in Alaska.
Different Mississippi.
Wherever you're from. Okay, so where I grew up, the breakfasts were bagels, like cream cheese, and like bacon, egg, and cheese, and like a hoagie bun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Down here it's tacos. What was in Alaska?
Alaska, I think breakfast is biscuits.
Caribou leg. Caribou leg with a salmon milkshake.
Man, I would have to say the most common thing would be biscuits and sausage gravy.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that sounds pretty.
Pretty
Actually,
hearty.
I think any hearty meal sounds Alaskan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like anything like that make you want to take a nap after.
To be honest with you, with Alaska, their thing, like they don't really have. I mean, there's a lot of Asian influence there. You get a lot of Thai food.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Okay.
But it's really pizza and beer. Pizza
I
and
dig
beer.
that.
They got a lot of breweries and they got a lot of homemade pizzas.
So Alaska is pretty much the dive bar of the United States of America.
You got it.
I love that. So okay, so let's talk breakfast. So what's you're a breakfast man?
I love breakfast. My favorite meal of the day.
What's your spot in Houston to get breakfast at?
I
Besides
don't-
Clutch City Coffee.
I don't eat breakfast anymore.
Why?
I'm not a young buck anymore. Got to keep the pounds off.
So it's more of a personal decision versus a want.
That's correct. So
Yeah.
I do breakfast for dinner quite a bit.
Do you really?
I love breakfast for dinner.
Like what?
Oh, eggs, bacon, toast, cheese, anything.
For dinner.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I dig that.
Absolutely.
You share that with your
Oh, she
family?
loves breakfast for dinner too.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
all right, you got that going. The
Fried
little weird,
eggs.
the little weird cork at the house.
Oh, we love fried eggs with avocado, salt and pepper, a little cheese on top on some toast. Whew.
Are you a spam eater?
I am not. I have had it. I like masubi.
Dude, I love spam. I seriously do. Like,
Yeah.
You fry some spam with some eggs.
You had
that's the way to
masubi?
go. Of course, but why don't you explain to the audience who doesn't know what that is?
So masubi is spam sushi.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, Monica makes that. Monica makes that.
Obviously, you knew what that was.
Yeah, my wife makes that for her sometimes, like on a lazy Sunday day.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, make some we call it spam sushi.
Spam sushi.
Yeah.
Yeah. You put some spam with some rice.
I love
rice,
how you
seaweed.
just like made it classy. You're like sushi. What'd you call it?
Masubi.
Yeah, like no, dude, spam sushi. Just say spam sushi.
Yeah.
That's how it is. That's how
They
call it.
serve it in the gas stations in Alaska. I used to
Do they really?
Yeah.
That sounds so phenomenal, by the way, right now. Wow, I
Yeah.
love that.
Uh-huh.
So I guess I got a couple questions for you, related to coffee.
Okay.
What do you call really sad coffee?
Not a clue.
Depresto.
Depresto.
All right. What happens when someone is what do you call it when someone's stealing your coffee?
You got me again.
A mugging. Do you know what the opposite of coffee is?
Offie.
Sneezy.
Sneezy. Nice.
Thank you. You know how the hipster burnt his tongue? He drank his coffee before. It's too cool. So these are all jokes that you can actually, if you want to actually.
Maybe we'll start putting up on our sign. When we
If you
open
want to
up. Joke
hire
of the
me,
week.
if you want to hire me as a in-house consultant on your jokes, like kind of like Bob's Burgers with his puns,
Uh-huh.
with his hamburger, I'll do that absolutely.
Sounds like a deal.
So what else do you like? I mean, let's wrap. So what else do you like getting into besides hunting, opening up coffee shops, your family? I mean, you getting any TV shows or books or what?
No, I'm not really into any TV shows.
No? You're not like on.
I used to read quite a bit. Not quite a bit. I enjoyed reading. It's kind of fallen off the wayside since
Yeah.
The Young One and what's been going on lately. But it's really I like to enjoy outside.
outside, just being outdoors.
I'm an outside guy.
It's kind of tough being in Houston from Alaska. Huh?
It is. It is tough, but Houston has got its own special thing.
Yeah.
You got to enjoy the place you are, where you are, right?
Yeah.
If you come to Houston expecting Alaska, you're going to hate it. But if you come to Houston and you appreciate the things it offers, it can be a fabulous place.
That's right.
Yeah.
Lexi. Well, anyway, everyone, Marshall, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, I've never
We're
shaken a hand.
we're handshaking.
I'm fine with that. So, are you upset about the elections?
Upset about the elections? No, I'm not upset.
Is your world over?
No, not at all. What I would be upset about is I think there's positives and negatives to both candidates.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would like it to believe that the election is correct.
I would like everyone to calm down a little bit and just kind of start working together and just kind of get through everything.
You know what's interesting is we're both in the oil business, and
Yeah.
well,
Hasn't felt like it since March, but yeah.
apparently we are. And you know, the oil industry, if you go back and look over time, it generally always makes more money under Democrats than under Republicans.
It's like Obama, 120 bucks a water.
Hey, look at that.
I'll take that any day.
You know, it might not have done it, it regulate it, and that's why it goes up. It's not the right way of doing it, but hey, it goes up. So
Well, my thing is this.
I don't think it's the. All I'm saying is I don't think it's the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world. My thing is this. It's like, if you want to put your attention on that, like ruining your day and ruining how you interact with people and all that stuff, then that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks for you. Or you just kind of say, okay, like I watched this Conan and Bill Burr when Trump was elected back in 2016, and Conan's obviously trying to lead him to say like, oh, I hate how Trump got elected and all that stuff, and he's like, so what do you think about Trump being elected? And Bill Burr's like, I don't really care, and he's like, what do you mean you don't care? Like, come on, everyone's like booing him. He's like, what do you give a shit? Like, when's the last time Obama called you to see how you're doing? Or when was the last time he made you a sandwich? He's like, you're going to get up, go to your shitty job, and call it a day. Same day as usual.
You got it.
That's it. That's it. Just go out there, be kind to people.
Be nice.
Right? That's all we need. We need more of that than this whole political...
You know, we were talking about rules and constructs earlier. The only one that ever has stayed true throughout time is, treat others how you'd want to be treated.
Oh, absolutely.
That's it. It's that simple. And it'd be a happier place.
Absolutely, I agree with that. Anyway, Marshall, I appreciate you coming in. Again, this is Marshall Brown. For those of you who live in Houston or are coming to Houston to stop on through, be sure to check out his new coffee shop. Support local and support oil field.
There you go.
Right?
That's right.
And I hope
4733 Richmond Avenue.
And we're gonna put the link in all the media once we release this too, so everyone can follow. Clutch City Coffee and support them. I think I'm kind of excited about this. I'm over the whole Starbucks thing too. I love being lazy. I hate getting out of my car. Call me new school, but I want to drive through where I can be a lazy piece of shit and enjoy it. Okay.
Well, that's us.
That's come to Clutch City Coffee.
Come to Clutch City Coffee. We got you covered.
Come to Clutch City Coffee, you lazy bums. But no, I'm looking forward to this, man. I think that you put a lot of work behind it, and it's exciting to hear that so many oil field people are kind of in this with you. And I think that's a cool new thing, and hopefully you see a lot more oil and gas professionals kind of getting out there, kind of doing their own things. So I think that way you can kind of start, being advocates for the oil and gas industry in different communities as well too. So I think that's also added plus too.
A lot of talent in the oil field.
A lot of talent in the oil field.
They can go do just about anything they want to.
So make sure everyone be sure to support, like, and whatever the Clutch City Coffee their endeavors. And Marshall, I appreciate everything. And man, hopefully next time you're in here, we're talking the success of Clutch City Coffee.
Talking about the second shop.
And we're talking about the second shop, and we're talking about, oh my God, you remember when oil was only $42 a barrel? You know what I mean?
Oh,
hopefully it's like way up there.
Well, you don't want it too high.
I'm not saying way too high. I'm just saying a little bit more, people more
A
comfortable.
little more would be just nice.
I'm fine with 60, 70 right now. I'm fine with that. But I appreciate it, buddy, and good luck to you, and good luck to your endeavors. I support it, and I enjoyed coming here, not talking old patch.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's different. I like that, so I enjoyed it.
Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate you having me on.
And when you do those taco tests, hit me up. I want to be the judge.
Yeah. So our goal is to get 3 of the best tacos we can find in town and serve those.
Okay.
That's the goal.
Challenge accepted.
There it is.
Challenge accepted.
If you have any ideas, let us know.
We'll do a blind taste test.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, everyone. And anyone, you can reach out to Marshall. You can find him on LinkedIn or Clutch City Coffee. Just send him a message on Instagram, and he'll be sure to reply. And honestly, if you just want to sit down and have a beer or a coffee with this guy, he's a pretty good guy to know. But again, thank you, Marshall. I appreciate it, and wish you the best of luck, bud.
Thank you, sir.